Welcome to Borak Santai BSN. My name is Ili, your host for today. And of course, we actually nak bersembang dengan the one and only, our Ketua Executive, J. Khairil. I can call you J, huh?
Yes, of course.
Oh no, Mr. Sir, all lah.
No, just J.
Wow, J. Khairil, very chill, guys. Now, of course, today we actually want to talk about Usahawan Mikro. Alright? So, a lot of people might think macam kalau nak start business ni kan, do we need like a lot of money kan? Kita kena ada connection ke? Kita kena maybe kena tunggu kaya dulu, right? A lot of people have these thoughts. But are these things true or not? Yeah? And maybe people might be thinking, oh, maybe there are other ways or other opportunities to actually start a business, right? So, we actually also have somebody amazing today as well. We got Peter Young daripada Mr. Money TV.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me.
So, apparently, a little birdie told me lah, you always give the very jujur and realistic perspective about money. True or not?
I hope that's betul.
Alamak, I'm so scared, but I'm also very excited.
Try my very best lah.
All right, guys, are you guys ready to break it down?
Yeah, of course.
Okay lah, here we go. So, question for Jay, first of all. So, bila kita cakap pasal usahawan mikro ni kan, a lot of people think macam, okay lah, usahawan mikro ni maybe kedai tepi jalan, right? Or maybe jual goreng pisang ke kan? Or like maybe you have like warung kecil and stuff like that. Tapi sebenarnya, who are the people who are in this category, usahawan mikro?
Yeah. So it's not wrong. Dia tak salah to assume that this usahawan mikro ni termasuklah juga penjaja di tepi jalan yang jual pisang goreng dan sebagainya. They are all micro entrepreneurs. But it is a lot more than just the penjaja.
Okay.
Right? So the official definition is actually by SME Corp. It says if your turnover or your revenue is less than or up to 300,000, or if you have not employed more than 5 staff at any given time.
Okay.
So it's or, it's not and. So let's just say your revenue is 400,000, but you have only employed 4 staff. You are still categorized as micro.
I see.
Or you can be categorized as micro. So it is that range. That's the official definition of who a micro entrepreneur is.
Okay, faham.
Now, so that means it is not just limited to your normal penjajas that you see or your hawker stores that you go to. It includes the small businesses in the community. And, in our examples, we have had, bakery. We have had e-commerce entrepreneurs who have all started with very humble beginnings. The success stories have been very encouraging. A lot of them with the right nurturing and all have gone on to do very well in their businesses. But literally, micro businesses means that 300,000 or you have hired less than 4 or 5 staff.
I see.
So these are your micro. And a lot of them have, of course, moved on to do a lot more things.
Okay, all right. Peter, anything you want to say about like micro business people?
I think for micro business people, it's just the most of the place where how people start lah. Yeah, because usually when you start a business kan, memang selalu seorang diri ataupun 1-2 orang kawan bersama-sama. So memang 4 people. But it doesn't mean that mereka keuntungan dia kecil.
Okay. Okay. That means the keuntungan can be big also actually.
Boleh. Sebab kalau kata 4 orang, kalau 1 juta, pun 4 orang juga kan.
If you have appeared dekat Mr. Money, then you probably would have been successful already lah.
Don't say that. But at the same time also kan, kalau micro tu, the structure is very different from slightly bigger company lah. Usually more informal. Banyak mereka pun mom and pop. Ada kala boleh kata ada kala mereka juga tak register sebagai business juga kan. Mereka keluar letak satu table jual nasi lemak.
Informal
sangat
sector.
Informal setting. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's nice. That's cool. Okay, so bila kita sebut pasal usahawan mikro, because you guys already explain what it is essentially kan. Ramai fikir lah, alamak, business kecil ni tak boleh pergi jauh kan. A lot of people have that mindset kan. Maybe it's a stereotype, right? So is this a myth or not?
Well, when you mentioned earlier, Ili, about if you want to start a business, you need a huge capital. Right? If you want to
betul.
start a huge business, you need huge capital lah. Kan?
Okay.
If you want to start a small business, you don't need the huge capital. Now, I would like to also offer a different perspective ataupun perspektif yang mungkin berbeza sedikit lah terhadap usahawan-usahawan mikro ni. Because a lot of times, the myth of, you setakat nak buat bisnes yang jual-jual kuih ni, you nak buat bisnes yang macam nak jual-jual air ni, mana sangat you boleh pergi, right? But we have to take the approach of understanding where have they started, or how they want to explore this business. And a lot of times bila kita ada that passion, that burning passion tu nak buat business, sebab apa? Sebab nampak jiran sebelah tu dia jual air je kot, tapi dia boleh bawa Honda Accord.
Alamak.
Ataupun dia boleh beli motor besar, right? Tapi dia jual air je kot. So if you start that way, it is a good motivation. It is a good motivation to be motivated that way. But you always must know apa sebenarnya yang you punya passion. Sebab selalunya bila kita tengok daripada pengalaman kita lah, especially we have dealt with a lot of micro businesses. Daripada pengalaman kita ni, if they start with the right footing, with the right passion to do a business, selalunya, even if they fail, they can come back to their feet again. Tetapi kalau dia start, dia kata, my BSN ni sekarang ni tengah bagi loan sampai 100,000 untuk orang bermula ataupun mulakan perniagaan. Kita ambil je lah dulu duit 100,000 tu.
Alamak.
Kemudian hari kalau berjaya, berjaya lah. Kalau tak berjaya, janji kita beli something dulu, or to enhance your lifestyle with that money. So that's where a lot of times we have seen businesses do not make it. But if we start right and we say, look, we really want to do a business that we think we are very passionate about, yang kita ada kecenderungan sendiri sebab kita rasa itulah passion kita. Passion kita ni memang nak buat air, campur macam-macam air, lepas tu kita jual, itulah passion air. Kalau kat rumah pun orang tak suruh, kadang-kadang ayah dengan mak tengah tengok TV, I pergi masuk dapur, I campur air macam-macam, I offer kat dia orang. So secara semula jadi, itulah passion you, kan? To mix and match things, for example, kan? So if you bawa that to a business, and diberi pula pendedahan yang betul, and the right nurturing, the right hand holding daripada mula, and that's where we have seen a lot of successful business. So as a bank, ni kena buat marketing sikit lah. As a bank yang dimandatkan penuh, right? Yang very clear in terms of our social mandate and also our inclusion mandate. It is not just our duty to give financing to a prospective micro business, but to also offer them that hand-holding punya perspektif daripada mula. Why? Because this is a very crucial step, right? Sebelum kita mula nak berniaga, passion ni dah berkobar-kobar ni. Nak buat something, nak terus nak lompat dalam business. Tetapi sometimes in business, the challenges in business are different. We have actually seen micro businesses yang telah pergi jauh. Yang dulu cuma minta 50,000 nak buka satu bakery, hari ini dah ada 8 bakery yang telah dibuka. Dulu cuma dapat buat kasut, this is real life example ya. Dapat cuma jahit kasut, kilatkan kasut, di kaki lima. Hari ini telah pun menjadi tuan punya kedai yang bukan sahaja buat kasut kulit, tapi boleh buat dompet, boleh buat tali pinggang and all those things. And lagi baik lagi, this particular micro ni, dah buat satu akademi untuk mengajar orang macam mana nak berkecimpung dalam bidang pembuatan barang kulit ni. So you see the impact and the multiplier to the economy is actually amazing. It's actually amazing. So that's where the ecosystem has to be right. So boleh pergi jauh, tapi kita jangan ambil jalan yang mudah.
Okay.
Right? We cannot shortcut things and then expect this business to meletup. There is no shortcut to successes in life. You need to go through the process. And that's why, sebagai sebuah institusi perbankan yang dimandatkan, which is very clear in our social DNA, to help micro businesses to berjaya, all these elements ni kena ada. So walaupun you start kecil, tetapi dengan ingredients yang baik, it is actually very promising if you can get it right. Yeah. So banyak example yang I can quote lah.
Wow. Oh my goodness. So in a nutshell, of course, if you have the right mindset, if you have the right discipline, the right support, and also passion, right? I feel like kalau tak ada passion, I mean maybe like other people might have different motivation to start a business, tapi kalau ada discipline and passion, memang boleh lah. InsyaAllah. Alright. Okay, so I'm actually curious tau, because bukan nak kata ini dah start business je. Maybe I want to start my business. Like you said, pembiayaan BSN can go up to 100k kan? But what actually is the amount of money that anybody can like sort of need to start a small business? Like what is the minimum price? Like can you guys give us like the minimum amount? Ke memang kena 100k? I'm just curious.
Tak semestinya. Maybe Peter knows better. Dia ramai dalam dia punya talk show.
I think bila kata nak start business micro tu, macam nama dia lah. Micro. Means cost pun micro juga.
Betul. So tak adalah banyak.
Tinggi. So kalau katakan bila saya mula buat business saya ni, creator business. Itu pun business micro juga. Cost saya adalah telefon saya yang sudah beli tu. Yang hari tu pertama kali saya record video, I pergi beli satu lavalier mic RM35.
Okay.
Itu je. Itu je. Kan? Mungkin saya shock sikit beli satu mouse lah untuk mudah sikit buat editing lah. Tapi itu je. Kalau benar-benar apa pun tak ada, then maybe satu laptop RM3,000. Good laptop kan? Yes. So actually I boleh kata bila orang yang mula buat bisnes tu, kalau perniagaan micro, you tak perlu mula dengan RM50,000, RM100,000. Okay, you boleh mula dengan experimentation. Hari tu kita dengar satu cerita dekat newspaper, ada satu pelajar sekolah, dia dapat bantuan saran RM100. Lepas tu dia jual kek kan. Lepas dia jual kek, dia rasa kek saya boleh dijual. Sekarang mungkin dia kata saya nak buat lebih banyak kek. Saya nak beli satu kehutar atau apa-apa. Maybe you kata you perlu RM3,000. I think you can also apply for that kind of amount kan. Then as you can prove that saya buat pembiayaan sebanyak RM3,000, saya dapat keuntungan tu. Then sekarang kamu kata saya mungkin nak sewa satu kitchen. Then sekarang mungkin kamu perlu RM50,000. So saya rasa kebaikan micro ni adalah you boleh take one step at a time. You tak perlu terus mula dengan besar. Yang tu pertama. Yang kedua tu, banyak orang mereka pandang rendah kepada
startups.
Kalau kamu kata business micro doesn't sound glamorous, tapi kamu tukar je nama startup.
Kan, startup je.
Glamour lah.
Glamour dah. Tapi sebenarnya sama je. And number two, sebab dia micro, your cost pun rendah.
Yes.
Bila cost rendah tu, keuntungannya sebenarnya lebih tinggi.
Betul.
Ada kala bila kamu nampak your revenue dah sampai 1 juta tu, mungkin keuntungan tu 10%. Tapi bila kamu cut size 400,000, keuntungan kamu 40%. So, I think janganlah pandang rendah kepada business micro. Dan ada kalanya business micro ni adalah tempat yang baik untuk kekalkan supaya kamu tak ambil risk yang terlalu
Yes.
banyak.
So betul weh, Peter cakap jangan judge, okay? Who knows, you could be the next ketua eksekutif for BSN. tak. Bukanlah nak kata somebody will take your job je.
Okay.
Tapi
Mr. Money better give me a job.
No, I need to apply for a job.
But wow, very great
Yeah.
insights, guys. I'm actually so inspired now with this conversation already because, Ili pun rasa macam, maybe I should start a business too, kan? Okay,
Yeah,
wow.
yes.
Okay. So obviously when it comes to nak start business ni, memang very scary lah, kan? I think a lot of people think that it's going to be a lot of work. Maybe you might lose a lot of money, kan? The fear is
Yeah.
definitely there. Sebab maybe a lot of people memang rasa macam modal tu kena besar, kan? So you are saying 100%, ah? Okay, look at the camera now. Cik. You are saying 100% can do business with small amount of money, ah? Can, ah? Can, ah? Okay.
Can.
Wait, Ili inspired, guys. I might start a business tomorrow. Wish me luck, guys. Wish me luck.
If you can, you can go and see Peter. And Peter will give you all the
I'll
right
give you some
guidance.
business
Boleh. Okay, so this question is actually for you, Jay. Apa sebenarnya peranan BSN dalam bantuan usahawan mikro ni, kan? Because obviously, it's easy to apply for the loan and then get the loan, kan? But ramai cakap macam when it comes to the bank, bila you want to go to the bank and get a loan, susah lah, kan? Not to say it's very easy to get a loan, right? So, what are your thoughts on this? Maybe you can share with everybody?
We have come a long way, especially in terms of microfinancing ni. You know, we spoke a bit more earlier on passion, right?
Yes.
So traditionally, if you go to a bank today, wanting to take a loan, right? So behind the scene, it is the same probably everywhere you go. There is two big things that you have to pass, right? Number one is you have to pass your application score, or in the short form, they call it A score. And then you probably have to pass the B score, which is the behavioral score, right? So these are two typical scorecard ataupun piawaian yang digunakan sebelum sebuah ataupun sesuatu loan application tu dapat diluluskan lah. Now, when it comes to micro, we also want to score on passion.
Yes.
So remember when I mentioned about passion earlier, because if you really have that passion to do this business, you will find ways dan cara-cara untuk memastikan yang kita ni dapat jalan untuk kita berjaya dalam kita punya perniagaan. That's why the P score tu is very crucial, right? The passion score tu is very crucial. So you need to first inculcate that. And when you have that, you go to a bank. Bank typically kalau micro ni dia akan tanya, do you have bank statements? Can we have a look at your bank statement for the past 6 months? And then you say, hello, aku baru nak start business. Mana ada bank statement for the past 6 months?
Alamak, betul.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, okay. So this is where it is also a challenge for us in the bank. And we are in the midst, I won't say that, jangan risau, datang ke BSN, kita tak payah bank statement, kita tak payah tengok secret, kita tak payah tengok sitos, loan akan approve je. Pun tak betul. We also have to be a responsible financier, right? Now, what is a responsible financier? Responsible financier must also have the habit to make sure whenever we extend a financing facility, that person must also be eligible for it, right? What does it mean by eligible is, satu is, I cannot give you a loan and then you cannot pay and then at the age of 25, you go bankrupt.
Yeah.
It is also very irresponsible of a financier to do that, which is why it has to be seen from both sense, right? Both sense and both lens. So lensa pertama adalah sama ada diri kita ni bersedia ataupun tidak untuk mengambil satu komitmen yang mungkin boleh mengubah cara hidup kita. Satu. Yang keduanya, lensa daripada sebuah institusi perbankan pula. Are you going to be so burdened that if you cannot fulfill your obligation, and as a responsible financial institution, we also have to make sure that you can pay. And if not, if you fall out of your obligation to pay, And then you will fall into a lot of other social issues, which is something that shouldn't also happen.
Yeah.
So sometimes when a financing application is not approved, one cannot only look at it from the perspective of susah sangatlah nak ambil financing daripada bank ni. Sebab mungkin ada faktor-faktor yang kita dapat kenal pasti yang mungkin akan menjadi kekangan di kemudian hari. So that's where berbalik kepada P-score tadi. Kita sendiri must be able to explain to the bank. If the bank sometimes asks, okay, show me, your business plan. How are you going to do your business? How are you going to start? Dekat mana kita nak bermula? Kita nak jual kuih lah. Contoh yang Peter bagi tadi. We want to start by selling kuih. I buat kuih. I punya kuih Seri Muka kat kampung I. Mak Jah, Mak Jan, semua dah try. Memang terbaik. The best. Right? But, how do I explain this to the bank? And tell the bank that, look, I have thought about this. And when you do not have the ability and capability to explain it that way, that's where you also have to acknowledge that I need to also go through some kind of training. I need to also go through some kind of financial punya exposure sebelum saya bermula perniagaan. So sometimes the intervention is not necessarily straight away nak mula berniaga, minta loan.
Betul?
Minta financing. Itu sahaja yang boleh menyebabkan ini boleh berniaga ataupun tidak. Tak sepatutnya macam tu. Sepatutnya ialah kita kena tahu apakah ingredient. Sama lah macam kita buat kuih ni, ingredient dia untuk kuih tu jadi sedap. Sama untuk macam kita mula berniaga, ada ingredient yang kita perlu make sure dia ada. And that's where sometimes the intervention is not necessarily financing first. It is sometimes about knowledge. It is sometimes about exposure. It is sometimes about what do you need to understand about running a business. And before you do all that, janganlah terus pergi ke bank dan minta. I nak minta 1,000. Pasal tak nak bagi? Pasal susah sangat you all tak nak bagi? Sebab I nak buat business ni. Kan? So, lensa dia berbeza. So, kita kena tengok daripada lensa yang berbeza. Yeah. So, that's where I think selalunya that line tu yang tak berapa clear lah. Tu pasal orang selalu cakap, banks ni. Tapi saya pun terima lah. Memang betul lah. Bank ni, we all have, we all have the appetite to make sure that when we give out financing, we cannot afford the financing to turn bad.
Betul,
Right.
correct.
So, kena pula hari tu kita bagi kepada orang ni, gaji dia macam ni, komitmen dia macam ni. Tapi dia turn back tau. So what happens? Dia akan masuk dalam kita punya data. So bila datang satu application yang sama, gaji yang sama, dan faktor persekitaran yang sama, ini tak boleh bagi dah. Sebab kita pernah bagi, dia fail.
Oh, yeah.
So it becomes something like that, right? So that's how. So we are also, as a responsible financier, we also have to learn to be better. Itu saya pun nak mengaku yang bukan banks ni hebat sangat, tidak. We also have to be humble enough to learn how to provide the best opportunity for businesses lah. Terutama sekali PMKS ni.
Wow. I mean, that's really hard because obviously you can't really tell like whether or not somebody's business can take off, kan? It's definitely a risk. But so how do you sort of like look at somebody with their applications and stuff? Macam, do you sort of have hope ke? Is hope also in play in this whole process ke macam mana? Like,
so itulah, that's why, back to the question of how do you evaluate someone who doesn't have bank statement? No secret records, no banks, no payslip, no, don't have all the typical financial documents. So that's where, we rely a lot on data, on past data. We also we are very close to having our we call it our alternate scorecard yang tidak melihat kepada all these typical financial documents, but rely a lot on other form of data to score an applicant before we make a financial decision whether it is a good application to go through ataupun tidak lah. So mungkin perlu bekerjasama dengan Peter juga untuk kita mengenal pasti what is the right formula, sebab dia tak ada no such thing as you have to go through A, B and C.
Yeah.
Right? With micro ni it has to be a lot more fluid. Dia kadang-kadang yalah tak boleh lah kita bagi financing lepas tu kita doa bayar tak boleh. Dia tak boleh menggunakan mekanisme macam tu. Dia kena ada data untuk support. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Peter, you know, you're always very truthful and you always sort of give people the realism of money, kan? I mean, if you don't mind, are there like certain people out there that you feel like maybe you shouldn't do a business? Ada tak? I'm sure you have. Yeah.
I used to grow up thinking that like everyone can do business. But later I came to realize not everyone can do a business lah.
Like me, I can, I think.
Yeah, are you sure? Are you sure? You haven't tried?
I think I can.
Never know. Yeah. But betul tau. Sebab kalau nak run business ni, it requires some sort of attitude that is a little bit different. Kalau seorang tu dia nak jadi businessman, tapi dia selalu nak orang tolong dia. Like for example, bila kamu nak start business, your only way of starting the business tu, kamu hanya boleh fikir pembiayaan je. Then chances are you're not gonna do well. Usually yang boleh buat business tu tak ada pembiayaan pun, mereka akan cari satu cara untuk buat business. And then lepas tu dapat proof of concept. Then baru mereka pergi ambil pembiayaan. Kalau kamu hanya depend on pembiayaan je, dulu kita ada satu term ni kat startup. Mereka panggil mereka orang ni grantopreneurs.
Grantopreneurs.
Means their whole business adalah pergi ambil grant je.
Calling them out.
Pitch business ideas.
Not a bad business model actually.
Lepas tu rugi, tak boleh bayar balik, ambil grant lagi. So the whole thing is sustained by grant, bukan buat business. So there's a joke lah, right? Tapi memang dia nak throw shades at these people kan. So I would say that pembiayaan bank tu, you mesti fikir satu. It's not a charity. You may meet a bank yang mereka ada, yang Jay selalu kata, two balance sheet. One for profit and another one that is for social cost. Yes, a bank like that mungkin akan tengok lebih daripada your payment history semua tu. And look at your, say, passion, your skill, and what another alternative scorecard kan. But generally, that shouldn't be your only hope. So if you can't think of any other hope other than this, chances are you may need to rethink your business strategy lah.
Betul.
Yes, betul. I mean, you got to be realistic about it, like you really need to know like the means that you have as well, and whether or not you can actually go through the challenges to start a business, kan?
I mean, just to add on to what Peter has just mentioned, you know, we have also come across, I mean, this is, you know, really penjaja type example, right? We have even come across an ice cream seller, right?
Okay.
This ice cream seller, he goes to a pasar tani, he opens up his booth, kereta dia, lepas tu dia jual ice cream. Ice cream ni dia buat kat rumah.
Oh, flavor apa?
Dia macam-macam flavor lah. Tapi dia punya own research and experiment on the ingredients, and he opens up the booth and he sells ice cream. And you know what? In that particular community, he is so well known that everyone goes and look forward to buying his ice cream. Tapi dia ada satu masalah, sebab dia perkakas dia ataupun the equipments that he has to do the ice cream is only limited to what he has at home. Although he has fantastic way of his magical touch, right? Of touching on ingredients that, you know, I wish I know, but I don't know. Even if I know, I don't know what to do with it. But he has that ability, and so he could only sell that number of ice cream every day. Permintaan ada ni. So this is where it's so typical, but you would imagine that, you know, we went and we just asked this person, what help do you need to be able to produce 5 times more of what you produce today?
Yeah.
He said, I only need a simple machine that can do the mixture, and, you know, I mean, he understands that better than I do. We said, what if we, so it's very capex related. I mean, it was very capex intervention. So what if we provide you that machine, but of course you have to pay us back lah. But it's going to be a very minimal rate. And because we can see with our own eyes that he actually has so much potential, but he's limited by his capacity to produce. So when that was enabled, his business just went triple, right?
Wow.
And back to what Peter has just shared. So kalau kita ada kemahuan tu, ada passion tu, and ada that magical touch to cari what is the right ingredient to sell this ice cream, you will be very resourceful in the first place before they could get help. This guy, help came to him, right? He was very contented. Cukup lah ice cream yang I jual ni. Kan? Cukup lah, you know, can put 3 meals on the table, etc. Enough lah, you know. But when the help came and the intervention was just right for him to produce more, that's when things just got massive for him, right? And mind you, help came, I mean, it was divine intervention, right? So help just came to him. But that is where I think, you know, businesses who, which one day, you know, are successful, have all these intrinsic values, right? Yeah. So these are things that I think we have to always push to our micro entrepreneurs. This is the typical example where, you know, he already has the passion. Number one, he knows what it takes to make fantastic ice cream. He knows his target audience. He knows the segment where he should sell, right? And he literally knows, you know, without him knowing, he literally knows that this is that much of capital I need for the day so that I can go and buy my ingredients for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I need to put aside some for the family, etc., etc. So that discipline, the financial discipline, without him knowing, is actually already there. So now, when help came, he did not seek help. Help came. When help came, help has already identified all this.
Betul.
Right? But help also knows that if we give him the machine, he triples. So the only thing that we need to worry about is, hey, nanti dia dah triple ni, dia punya revenue ni, dia dah jadi gergasi. What if then he doesn't have the discipline? So that is where the nurturing part is crucial. Right. So, you know, we intervene, you provide help, but you also want to make sure that the help is guided.
Betul.
And he doesn't run off the course. Right? So tapi you tak boleh dengan orang-orang yang ada magical touch, you tak boleh nak push sangat macam, oh, you do it, hello, yang buat aiskrim aku ke kau?
Ya, faham.
Right? Aku yang buat aiskrim, aku yang pandai buat aiskrim, yang kau sibuk nak ajar aku pasal apa?
Alamak, tiba the ego comes in, right?
Yeah, so you cannot, you have to be very delicate, right? You have to be very delicate, but you have to have that intervention supaya diorang dapat rasa yang betul-betul diorang ni nak tolong I.
So I want to ask something if you don't mind, right? Apa yang saya dengar tu adalah number one, BSN yang pergi cari dia lepas tu tolong dia. And I dah cakap dengan banyak bank CEO lah. Tapi yang satunya I rasa Encik J ni, you macam kenal sangat like the direct consumer. Because usually CEO tu mereka macam I wouldn't know what's happening on the ground kan. Even if I know also like all the big clients lah. Tapi ni semua kecil sangat. So actually
tu memang like, segmen BSN lah.
Oh, you turun padang banyak ah?
Memang kena turun padang, kena exercise. So that I mean it is really about reaching out. When our vision is about no Malaysians left behind. So I need to walk the talk, right? When we say no Malaysians left behind, and if I cannot provide that example of walking the talk, of knowing your customer, your segment of customers, then susah lah, because it is, we should live, breathe, and eat that vision for breakfast. So, and that's where I think that's how we should operate.
Wow. I'm feeling so inspired right now, man.
Man.
But I didn't do anything great. It's just, we're just going down meeting people.
Biasanya kan, if you look at bank, the idea is, banyak orang kata macam ni tau, bank suatu organisasi yang tutup payung bila raining. Tapi buka payung bila ada sunshine. But one thing I noticed is that, like what you did, very often tak banyak bank will go to a smaller player who don't have too much of record and then say, let me make that extra step. Bank account all those, part of it, but let's make the extra step to study it further. Right? I would say that maybe that could start a revolution among other banks as well, kan? A movement to be more human-centered bank.
Betul lah. Betul. I mean, Peter and Ili, I mean, we are on this topic. So it looks very, it feels very, very, dia macam orang kata very, very honourable, right, to be able to do all this. But I also have a wish that we could find a lot more ice cream sellers like that, right? So now the challenge is, I mean, we also have to think for the good of the country, and it is not just the government's responsibility. All of us have a role to play. So kalau kita tak boleh jumpa ice cream sellers macam ni, apakah mandat kita, ataupun what is our role then to create these ice cream sellers? So you see, then it becomes multiple prong. One is you find the ice cream sellers like that, and the intervention is very impactful, it's very meaningful to him. You could see how he progressed. But it's also very important for us to be able to nurture ice cream sellers like that. So I think that's the next leg that we all have to think about. And ramai yang ada magical touch ni, buat Milo dinosaur lah, lepas campur betul. Milo dah banjir dengan serbuk Milo, tambah lagi satu benda jadi
tornado macam-macam.
Milo tornado macam-macam lah, so ideas are there. We just need to have that ecosystem that provide. I mean, sometimes I do know, we want to do all this, tapi it's also not that easy. Ramai yang kadang-kadang kata, macam mana nak reach out, all these things. We literally do have that channels, the number of branches do come to us for us to at least give you the first step ataupun the first try on what you can do better lah.
Wow, I love how our conversation was very focused on passion. If you want to make business, you need to have passion. But I'm so glad that even from BSN, there's a lot of passion to help people who really want to make it far. So
maybe it's time to start your ice cream business as well.
Ice cream Ili, guys. Let's go. I'll
be your first customer.
Ili is already a coffee brand.
Betul juga.
Okay. So coffee ice cream lah ni. I'm so sorry to burst your bubble.
Affogato or something they call.
I actually don't like coffee. So I feel like that would be a bad business for. I mean, if I were to do it a bit like tak credible lah. Bukannya Mina ni tak suka coffee ke? But it's okay. We can talk about it after this. Huh?
Yeah.
Just kidding. Alright guys, last question before we end today's episode, okay? What can the rakyat expect lah, kan? Maybe we talked about the loans and everything like that from BSN, kan? But what can like anybody out there who wants to do a business, what can they expect from the direction of BSN when it comes to wanting to become a micro usahawan?
So I think we've touched quite a fair bit lah, kan? In terms of reaching out to the rakyat, the channels are there and all.
Yeah, I guess the direction of like where do we
Yeah.
go, kan? Because obviously, like, it's so hard to
Correct.
start, kan? Like, you might
Yeah.
have an idea, but you don't really know who to talk to. You don't really know where
And
to,
it's becoming,
Mm.
I wouldn't use the word, it's becoming sexy, probably not the right word to use. But you see, there are a lot more young graduates or, even the younger population who actually want to be involved in business, right? But somehow it's a lot to do with their willingness to try and explore different things.
Okay.
Tapi sometimes they feel they are very lonely. They think, how do I get help? Where do I get help?
Yeah.
Because I do need help, but where do I go and get help? So the least that we could do as a development financial institution is to enable that help, right? Now, we also are very mindful that kita ni bukan juga satu institusi yang boleh tolong semua orang, right? There are also scarcity of resources, limitation in terms of what we can do, but we have to at least start right? And we have to at least have that capacity to start right, and then to have the right mindset to help and to nurture. Now, just before we end, I just want to add something which I thought is very, very important. Now that includes very, very in a very unconventional way. That includes us helping a bunch of about to be released prisoners.
Oh.
Now imagine this scenario where someone who has spent, we don't want to talk about why, and someone has been in the prison for 15 years or 20 years, but would have probably gone through the rehabilitation and all those things. And for the last 15 or 20 years, say for example, we worked with this penjara Marang in Terengganu, and they have identified, or they call it prospect, which I like the way they address with respect, right? Of this about to be released prisoners, they call them prospect. They have gone through 15 years of tenun songket, weaving songket, right? That's all they do. They probably
15 tahun dalam weaving
dalam
songket.
tu. So they've gone through that regime, and you imagine how good are they in menenun songket. But when they are released from prison, is there an ecosystem to help support what they have learned for the last 15 years? Because the last thing you want is for them to go back in for whatever crime, you could think of, right? Because it must have been a social issue, right? But so that's where we have worked with Penjara. At least that's the pilot. We are also in talks with some others now. Hopefully we can push that agenda through. But it's very meaningful, right? So, identifying 20, 30 about to be released, prisoners, and providing them that platform to be able to continue in their journey of what they've learned in the past 15 years, right? So that would be really, really amazing. So if you want to measure impact and how intervention can be very, very meaningful, these are the kinds of things that we can do. So, and when these things, all these little pockets of help, whether it's by us or I'm sure a lot of other banks are also doing the same, that's where we can also hope one day to change the structure of the economy, right? And people can be a lot more productive. And that's where I think we can see a lot of progress, not just for us as a bank, but also for the country. Yeah. So these are things that we can do in a very impactful way.
And
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
BSN, y'all want to make me cry or what? That's amazing. Oh my goodness. It's also giving them purpose, right? These people.
Yeah.
Wow, Peter, anything you want to say to any sort of advice or last words from you as well before we end this?
I think what I can say is that bagi orang yang nak start business tu, maybe something a bit more structure lah. So untuk orang yang start business tu, yang pertama, you have to ask yourself first thing, apakah masalah yang kamu nak solve? Right? What's the first problem that you want to solve? Then number two, siapakah your audience. Yeah, so mungkin you kata, I nak help people get better result. And the audience is university student. Now, this naturally leads to what's your product.
Yeah.
Betul kan? Kalau university student get better result, definitely business cannot be daycare.
Betul juga, macam pelik sikit, macam lain sikit.
Yeah, pelik sikit.
Yeah.
Then you ask yourself, what's the product that you can provide? Then I think here is where you nak buat the fourth step adalah testing.
Trial.
So bagi perniagaan mikro tu, you tak perlu fikir kalau kamu kata nak hari ni kamu nak solve masalah ni, kamu nak buat satu tag untuk tolong orang pass CLP result kalau kata. Kan? Then the first step should be you nak test tu, maybe simply put up a website. Yeah, just see ada orang nak tak solve, want to pass their CFP or not. Yeah. Or kalau kata kamu nak the simplest, kamu kata kamu nak buka kedai bakery, you buatlah 10 roti bagi kawan dulu. Bagi satu round, lepas tu round kedua tanya dia, nak beli tak besok? If kalau 10 round you bagi tu, tak ada orang nak beli,
Tak payahlah.
You improve
Tapi
recipe
kalau
dulu.
8 orang nak beli, that's where
Betul.
ideation, right? Yeah.
Betul. Yeah, so I would say test. Lepas test, then you scale. Yeah. So these are the 5 steps. What is the problem? Number 2, who are the audience? Number 3, what is the product? Then test your idea and scale your idea. Scale tu maksudnya, that's when you kata, saya nak beli mesin macam Uncle Ice Cream tu. Atau kamu kata, saya sekarang nak tukar daripada satu meja kaki 5 tu, sekarang mungkin saya nak pergi sewa satu trolley dekat shopping mall, or something like that. Yeah. So I think these are the 5 steps untuk orang yang nak bermula bisnes.
Alright. Oh my goodness. I love how everybody simplified everything for anybody kat luar sana kan, kalau nak buat bisnes ke micro usahawan gitu. Thank you so much J Career. Thank you so much Peter. This was so amazing guys. So kepada semua yang rasa macam nak buat bisnes, hopefully this episode has given you the inspiration and maybe even the tools kan to help you become that business person that you want to become, and hopefully BSN pun boleh become that next step to support you in making that business come true. Okay, my name is Ili. Thank you so much Borak Santai BSN. We will see you on the next episode.